Hello, hockey and basketball fans. My name is David. I thought I would start this video at 1:45 on the afternoon of Wednesday, 15th of February, 2023, North American Eastern Time. And thought I would make this. I'd hoped to make this particular video only one video on this Wednesday Eastern Time, but first attempt, I accidentally stopped it. Partway through, even though I had hoped to make it all one. Discuss the Raptors, and basically, where various Canadian NHL teams had found themselves going into games to start on Wednesday Eastern Time. Follow up with the second video about continued status of various Canadian teams and whether the Leafs' Austin Matthews would return to the lineup in a midweek home game against the Blackhawks. I thought I would do in this video is discuss what's up with Jake Virtanen, a former Canucks winger, and then go to developments in terms of goaltending, and third, heart-to-heart that I would have with Kyle Dubas if I were speaking to him. So first, just gonna go to Virtanen having signed with a club with a hockey club in Germany. Recall that just days ago, Virtanen had gotten into some sort of physical altercation with one or more teammates of his on that Swiss team, based in the southwest of the country. And yes, he has Finnish citizenship through his dad, and thus the younger Virtanen could go and play pretty much in any hockey club based in the Schengen area, based on terms of if it was going to be Switzerland, based on freedom of movement between Switzerland and the European Union and the EU. Now the younger Virtanen is with an EU based club. Finnish passport, no problem, no need for visa. But again, of course, one can be forgiven for thinking that, Jake Virtanen has been through so much. Well, being charged with sexual assault is not easy to deal with. And when it comes to whether he did in that woman in that hotel room, well, a jury found him not guilty. My interpretation is that there was reasonable doubt as to whether he had committed whatever sexual act he had committed had been non-consensual. That's really much where the minimum where it is. So he was acquitted. So criminally, he's in the clear, and that matters. But again, when it comes to being a good hockey player, well, he tried out for the Edmonton Oilers last September into early the following month. He failed, and then he decided to try his luck for a few months with a Swiss club. That failed, but that time, due to his behavior, and he has a reputation, and he's extraordinarily lucky that he's gotten to play in another country. I mean, if he continues, he does so with that German club, though, altercation may very well mean his hockey career is finished. So he's going to have. I would advise Virtanen to be quite careful, to behave himself, because it's about teamwork, and he should be thankful for the opportunity he's gotten to play. I'm not sure if he's going to get to play a game this during the current relevant season, other than maybe the postseason. But the problem is that this could be, we'll see what happens with Virtanen. So now I'm going to go to the goaltending situation with various Canadian teams. So last weekend, during a Sens home game against the Oilers, after the Oilers had scored their sixth and final goal in a big win over the Sens, Anton Forsberg, due to a collision during which a teammate of his had knocked, I believe it was Zach Hyman, into him, went down for the count, had to be stretchered off the ice. I thought, okay, maybe he'd broken a leg or two. He has two knee injuries. Forsberg happened to have two knee injuries and is out indefinitely. So in the last two games, both which have been wins, Calgary Flames, Matt Sjogard, Danish goalie, who had been under contract to the Belleville Sens of the AHL via the Belleville Senders of the AHL, going into before at least before Cam Talbot had gone down to medium term injury, have been a backup. Forsberg gone for a while. I mean, if the hamstring injury to Thatcher Demko in December is any guideline, I'd have to say that, 2.5 months he hasn't played a game, he hasn't dressed for a game, never mind played in one. Then I'd see, I saw Forsberg as being out till well into April, and thus lucky to play another game, simply because, if nothing else, the Sens' own season hasn't gone well enough for them to likely get into a playoff spot. They got so many teams to pass. Who knows if they're going to get in? At this point, it could be that the Sens end up being sellers at the upcoming NHL trade deadline. So I feel for Forsberg. I hope he recovers, but with two injured knees, he's out of action, likely for however long the Sens season lasts, which at this point looks like the Sens aren't even going to see playoff action. And if the Sens miss the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs, it'll end up being the 6th straight postseason that they will have missed. So with new ownership for the Sens, it's remarkable the team has been doing so well. I mean, you think that the Canucks and all the issues and all that. I mean, the Canucks are not doing very well under Rick Tocchet or so. I'll get into the Canucks in a moment, but again, the Sens, I mean, coincidentally, it was a former Canuck defenseman, Travis Hamonic, who knocked Hyman into Forsberg. Lots of action around the net, and it's unfortunate that Forsberg is gone, likely for no shorter time than Demko, after his hamstring injury, will end up have been after getting to dress for his next game. So who knows? It's just unknown at this point where Forsberg's career is. But again, I mean, hamstring is a muscle, a knee is a joint. I'm not sure, how long Forsberg's recovery will be, but there's no doubt in the world that Forsberg is gone. So Sens played the Calgary Flames on, was it Monday, was it? Yeah. An overtime win after having come back from a 3-1 deficit. Jacob Markstrom of the Flames allowed 2 ugly goals that I could count. One of them in regulation, and the overtime winner that Tim Stützle scored. So yeah, that's So Markstrom's goaltending, has been subject to debate about whether Markstrom or Dan Vladar should be used more frequently. Interesting debate, but again, when it comes to the Sanders, I also looked at the Sens win in overtime over the Isles at UBS Arena in Elmont, just outside the New York City borough of Queens. And yes, Kevin Mandolese stood tall, stopping all but 2 shots that he had faced in regulation and any shot that he faced beyond it. Overtime, loads of chances the Isles had, but new goalie, Mandolese, who played in his first NHL game, at least during the regular season, or certainly deserves a lot of praise. It's not easy to go in, with no experience and then come out and shine. But Mandolese stood tall when the Sens, defense, team in front of him hadn't been performing all the best. So there are just those times when a team could definitely use a goalie to steal a game. I'm not saying that Mandolese will turn out to be a good goalie, a good quality goalie. It's way too early to tell. This is just the first. It was just the first game, at least if it hasn't been a preseason one, to have featured, his having stood tall. Again, I applaud him. And it's he had some friends and family at UBS Arena to watch him on. Make no mistake. I mean, he's got something to prove too. And I think it matters a great deal. When it comes to the Bedard sweepstakes, among Canadian teams, I'd say the Sens are among them, Habs, and Canucks least likely to get to draft Bedard or Adam Fantilli. Make no mistake, though. If Sens are are now above NHL 500, I think maybe they've imported from last season the Bruce Boudreau approach to winning, and it's working. Didn't have to change a coach. Thought, okay, maybe earlier in the season, DJ Smith, the longtime coach of the Sens, one of the longest serving among Canadian teams, would end up being given the boot, or was most likely to be given the boot, given Sens had sank as low as 10, 12 points at one point this season below the playoff line. So that is what a turnaround. Doesn't mean the Sens are going to necessarily get into necessarily going to see postseason action, just that they have a better chance among those teams that have point totals well below those of the Calgary Flames that are still Canadian, them, Habs, and Canucks. So now I'm going to get into the Canucks, and earlier this week, Spencer Martin, a one-time backup to Thatcher Demko, was waived by the NHL Canucks, and unless another team in the league claimed him, Martin would be sent down to the Abbotsford Canucks of the AHL. And, Martin is now with the Abbey Canucks. And yes, even the, Senators goaltending, even Senators didn't claim Martin off waivers. Very telling. Go figure. Maybe the Sens have enough goalies as it is who are under contract that they're doing just fine. Going with Sjogard, Mandolese, pending the return of Cam Talbot. Keeping in mind that Forsberg is probably out for at least until May. If the Sens get into a playoff series and win that first round series, good luck with that. So, what I thought I would do is go to... Oh, oops. Alright, so what now I'm going to do is... before I go to Kyle Dubas, go to what I would say to Kyle Dubas if I were having a heart-to-heart with him. Heart-to-heart convo with him. To address the Canucks and the not so good, the epic fail that is the blue line. No surprise there. because even under Tocchet, thought I would do is just go to, let's going to see here. I'm going to go to, so I'm just going to go to, Rick Tocchet and what I would do is first look at 24 goals allowed, 24 goals scored. That was the reality. So what I thought I would do is go to Alright, so let's see here. So what I do, alright, so let's see here. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so where did I go here? Let me just go to gonna see if I can get info on what the Canucks have done. So I just found just a little bit of here. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so just gonna, I can't seem to find that tweet. I don't know why. Let me just go to (2022-23) Canucks. Alright, what I would do is just give me a moment here. Alright, I'm gonna go. Alright, so let's see Rick Tocchet. So that is 22nd January Eastern Time onward. So let's go to Alright, so let's see, and I'm just going to show for 24, 22, 27. So yeah, so those are the first 6 games. Canucks had a 3-2-1-0 win, regulation loss, overtime loss, shootout loss record. Alright, so where do we go here? So we go to, after having been outscored 11-3 by the Wings, the Canucks have been outscored 35-27 by opponents. 8 games, 3-4-1-0 win, a 3-4-1-0 record under Tocchet. That's right. First 6 games had each featured either the Canucks getting points or losing by 1 goal, by only 1 goal. Last 2 have been rather disastrous. So being outscored 11-3 and overall 35-27. So on average, the Canucks have scored under Tocchet 3 3/8 of a goal per game. So close to 3.4. But have allowed on average 1 more goal per game. That's not good. Canucks are among the worst teams in terms of average goals given up per game during the regular season, or at least after last preseason. I'm gonna have to take a look at the statistics here. They're among the worst. Probably we probably have one of the five highest average goals given up per game. Just gonna have to look at that there if I can get anything there. All right, let's get here. NHL average goals allowed per game. So, goals allowed. Canucks were up there in terms of average goals scored per game. I don't know if that includes Monday's results. What I would do is go to NHL stats. I'm going to go to teams. So goals for per game. Just going to go to where various teams are as of this season. Goals for per game. The Canucks are tied for 10th with the Canes, which is remarkable because the Canucks are way out of a playoff spot. So, I'd say effectively, top 10. So, pretty good. What about when you have goals against? Because you can't keep the puck out of your own goddamn net. I don't know how up to date that stat is, but definitely overall, if it is up to date, the games that were complete on that started on Tuesday Eastern Time, the Canucks are doing pretty bad. Well, I'd figure they're one of the top 5. Wow. The Oilers are not. Let's see where the Leafs are in terms of goals given up. Bruins have given up the least. Let's see, oh yeah, the Leafs are, in terms of defensive teams, are pretty good. But again, it should come as absolutely no surprise with the Canucks, as of now, only one of 2 teams, the other being the Ducks, having surrendered, on average, at least 4 goals per game. And it should come as really no surprise. Let's see about how many games under the coaching of Rick Tocchet the Canucks have given up. Alright, so let's look here. Wow. Rick Tocchet, we have one among the three January games. And then February I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 8 games. The Canucks have given up a minimum of 3 goals. And in all those games, they've given up at least 4. Wow. No wonder the Canucks have given up among the top 5 most goals per game on average following last preseason. So actually, it's gotten pretty bad under Docket. Oh, it's so bad. And I don't know if Demko's coming back. He is on the way back. So again, what I'm gonna do is gonna go to where do I go here, and yeah. So I'm now going to go to. Alright, so. What Dubas. Yeah, I was looking at that. So what Dubas should do? Subject to a video. In a video posted on the TSN Hockey Twitter page mere hours ago. So, again, the claim made by Dubas being under pressure. Well, there's no doubt that the Leafs need serious upgrades. The question is whether Dubas will do them. If I were to have a heart-to-heart with Kyle Dubas, here's what I'd say to him. He's had an important crossroads in his career. That I understand what he's been through. It's not easy being a player agent, and quite simply, I mean, this is again. He's got a family to feed. He has two kids via the marriage with his current wife. Make no mistake. I hope Dubas understands, if nothing else, that there's no guarantee of his being able to find another job in the NHL, or at least anytime soon, if the Leafs end up failing to win a playoff series. But it will certainly look good on him if he can add enough of the right pieces so that they end up making a conference final. Will he do so? We shall see. But perhaps it's not his own money he's playing with. And yes, the salary cap is flat. It's been flat for quite a while. And it may only go up by $1 million next season from $82.5 million to $83.5. And if it only goes up by that much, the Leafs won't have substantially more cap room just because of that. I mean, there are a whole bunch of expiring contracts. A bunch of contracts that expire in June of this year. But again, hopefully, for the sake of his own family, Dubas will make those wheeling and dealing moves and get the Leafs to a conference final. If the Leafs win their first round series but lose their second round one, that he may still get to stay with the Leafs. But it will look a lot better if he can help the Leafs. He can do those deals that help the Leafs get to a conference final. But what if the Leafs lose in the opening round? Say this, Dubas. There's no guarantee that he's going to find another job in the NHL, at least anytime soon. And who knows if he'll end up even finding a job with the Marlies or the Newfoundland Growlers. That's that heart to heart. I probably discuss those points with him. Whether he'll actually do anything, we'll see. But this may very well be it for his career with the Leafs. Because if they lose in the opening round, their opening round playoff series coming up in April, then I believe pressure is going to build again for MLSE, for the board of MLSE, the entity that owns the Leafs, Raptors, and a few other GTHA sports teams, to fire him and President Shanahan. Because again, and if MLSE does so, because Leafs have lost yet another opening round playoff series, then it's clear that the regular season, has only meant so much, and when the Leafs don't succeed in the postseason, it's a letdown. So let's see what happens. The Leafs are going to have to win against the Hawks, whether with or without Austin Matthews in the lineup. The Leafs haven't put together a win streak since Matthews went down to injury, but the Leafs are going to have to get used to winning without Matthews in the lineup, or his being able to necessarily contribute. Because in any given postseason series, it's in a mixed bag as to contributions from Matthews and Marner on points. And teams have been able to simply say, at least enough of them have, let's just shut down Matthews and Marner. And then the team crumbles. That's the problem. The Leafs are not a well-built playoff team. And I hope that should they fail to win their first round playoff series, whether that series starts on the road or at home, that Dubas and Shanahan will be out the door. Shanahan has been president of the Leafs from the 2014 offseason, when it actually began, which was sometime in April of that year, after the Leafs had missed qualifying for playoff action, all the way to now. So, stakes are high. I'm not sure where Brendan Shanahan will land should the Leafs fail to win a playoff series. But enough of that for now. I'm going to get on with the day and see where the rest of it goes. On that note, I'm going to say, go Leafs, go.